Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. So in this video, we will go over the lab solution for, actually the solution for lab 5. That's what I wanted to say. This is how it should look. If you can see here in the PowerPoint, this is the screenshot of how the final look of your website should be. And there is a folder which is available on Moodle. It's called Green Gardens Files. It's a RAR file. You can download this and then extract it and then work on the same folder. If I open this, there's a folder within it. So I'm going to use the same folder. So if I extract here, now I have the Green Gardens file. And oh, it has only images. Okay, so what we can do is if I can change this to just Green Gardens, rename it, and then create a folder here. So right click, new folder, name it images, and then move all my images within this folder. So now I have, a folder for images, and I can create the remaining stuff while coding. Okay, so here, if we take a look at the screenshot, this is how it should look like. Okay, and we'll go step by step over how to build this. Now, one of like some of the instructions are given here at the top. It says because of the side margins here, a container div which wraps around all other divs will be useful to apply the white background and keep everything aligned. Now, what that means is if you notice the actual background color is a bit of light green, okay, and the remaining is just a white background. So if you notice everything here is a white background, but on the sides there's a light green color. So how to do that? You would have a body. Within the body, you would have a division called container, as suggested here, and all your code will be within that division. Okay, and then you can add a white background to the container division. Now, it wouldn't make sense right now, but as we code, it will become more clear. One thing that is useful is if you want to get the colors. For example, I don't know, there are many shades of green here. So if I want to figure out which color is being used or whatever, so for that, there's a good trick. What you can do is just select, oh, I can't select the whole thing. Maybe I can, let's see. I thought it would be selectable. Okay, save as picture. Desktop, green, or I can just go to web fundamentals, solutions, green gardens, and this is just a screenshot. Save that. Now I can go to a website called image color picker, which is this one. Okay, and then I can just upload the image. So I can use my own image, browse, um, quick access, solutions, green gardens, the screenshot. And now I can just select whichever place I want to get the color from, and it will give me that color. So this will be useful. I will keep this open. Now, what else? Okay, so let's begin. I think that will make more sense. So if I just open, what's it called? Notepad++. Okay, I'll keep this here. I will keep the screenshot here. Okay, now, so here, the first thing I would do is save this as HTML in the same folder, which is solutions, green gardens, and I will name this index.html. Change the type to all types. Okay, now the first thing is HTML. Oh, doc type, don't forget that. Doc type HTML, and then head, body. Now within the head, I can just give it a title, green gardens, and then the code will be within the body. Uh, but now the first thing I need is a styles file. So I'll create a new file, save as styles.css, all types, save. Now I have a styles file. I need to link it with my HTML file. So link rel relationship style sheet href styles.css. Okay. Now that is done. Now to begin with, we need to add this light green color at the background, right? So for that, I would go to the color picker, figure out what that color is, which is here, select it. Now the color is displayed here, just copy it from here and go back, go to styles, and in the body selector, we will add this particular background color. So background color and paste semicolon. Save that. Let's see how this shows up. So if I go to the folder, now there's a background color. Okay. Now the first thing we need to do is figure out how to display this green gardens text with a green background. Now, before that, remember the hint or the instruction that they gave you, which is you need to create a division called container and everything should be within that container or within that division. So in order to do that, you will do something like this. Division, okay. Let's use IDs because I just find that that is better. So container, save that. And in the styles, I will add, because container is an ID, so hash container, okay. And the background color for the container, as you can see, the container is this part. All the, the design is within the container. And if you notice, the background of the whole page is white. So for that, you can just write background color white. Save that. Now it's not going to show anything because we don't have anything in the container. So it will be empty for now, but let's see how to display. Now the first thing that we need to display is this green gardens, right? So I'll create a division for that. I'll give it an ID of, let's say, title, and then just write green gardens. Okay. If we save that and notice the change, so the green gardens is there, it has a white background, but there is, it's not similar. If you notice here, there's a bit more spacing on the left and then on the right. So in order to do that, first of all, we need to get rid of the existing spacing, which is which comes with the browser, right? So for that, you can just write margin 0, padding 0 in the body. That will remove any existing margins. So that's now gone. But there's a margin in the container, right? Which means there's a spacing on the left and the right of the container. So you can do something like this, margin left. Let's make it 30 pixels, margin right, 30 pixels. Okay, now it looks a bit similar. Okay, now that is done. The background, okay, now for the heading, let's try to, or for the title, let's try to style that. The background for this, the background color, again, let's go to that website, figure out the background color here, which is green, dark green, and just use that. Okay, this will give you the background color. The font size can be, let's say, 30 pixels. Okay, and I think that is it. The font family can be Arial. So font family Arial, save that. Oops. Let's see if it looks similar. Yeah, kind of similar, but I think the text is a bit more bigger, a bit more bigger, a bit bigger. Sorry. So if I can increase this to 36, and let's see that later. The text color is white. Okay, and looks a bit similar, but I think even, yeah, it's fine. As long as it looks a bit similar, that's all we care about. Now, the next thing, if you notice here, let's zoom in a bit. Here you can see there's a field for typing, or a text field for typing text, and then there's a button for search. How do we add that? There is something called, okay, for that, let's create another division. Okay, so first of all, division, I'll give it an ID called search. Okay, and then within this, I will add input type text. This will create the rectangle box, and then input type button. This will create the button, but we need to add the text to the button, right? The search text. So for that, you'll use a value attribute and then search. That's how it would look. If we notice the difference, so there is a text field and there is a button, but there's no spacing here. So I think there's a bit of spacing at the top. How can we add that? Using the search ID. So if I go back to the styles, add search, oops, yeah, add search, and then padding, let's say top, or margin. Margin is better. Margin top, let's say 20 pixels. Will it be similar? Almost, I think, similar. Or you can even make it 15 if that's a bit more. Yeah, 15 is fine. So now we have that search thing. We're done with that. Now remember, when you're coding, you need to go line by line. What does that mean? The first thing you would code is this horizontal thing, which is one text. The next thing you will code is this horizontal line. I know there is no line, but just try to imagine. So that means you'll code this part, and then you'll code this part because they're same on the same horizontal space. Okay, and the same thing would be for the logo. So this is considered the logo. So this picture, when you code this picture, the next thing you would code wouldn't be the table. The next thing should be this picture. Okay, so we're done with the search. Now let's kind of try to code this part, register or sign in. Yeah. So for that, I will again, so you have one division for the title, one for the search. I'll have another one for, let's say, login. Let's name it login. Okay, and then here I would write a, the a tag, so that it's a link, and then register. Okay, and another a, I'll put the line, the vertical line or the pipe, and another a tag for the sign in. Sign in. And then just to make it clickable, I'll just add href hash. Hash means it won't go anywhere. It will stay there, but it will look as a link. And then hash here. Okay. So, or I can just move it to the next line so it's visible. Okay. Save that. And now you have register the line and sign in. But the problem is it's displaying on the next line, right? And we don't want that. So we want it to be on the same line as, on the same horizontal space as the search, but it should be floating towards the right. So for that, you need to float both the divisions. This division would float to the left, and then this division, the one that has registered and sign in, would float to the right. So search, where is search? Float left, okay, and then login would float right. Again, let's see. Now it looks similar. The white background is gone. I know, trust me, it will come back as you keep coding. The reason is when you float something on a division, in a division, for some reason the background color goes away. But as you keep coding, it will come back. So now one thing that's different is that their spacing is missing. So for that, just like how for the search you have margin top, you can just add margin top here as well. And now it will be on the same horizontal space. Perfect. Now, looking back, there is no underline on the registered, on the hyperlinks, right? So for that, you can write login. So that would say in the login division, wherever there's an A tag, put this styling. So that means the A tag will be a child for the login division, and only wherever the login division has an A tag, this styling will be applied. So here I can just write text decoration is none, so we can get rid of what's it called? I don't know if this is the correct. Okay, rid of underline. This is a way for commenting um, in CSS. Okay, and rid of underline. And let's look at what the actual color is supposed to be. I think, yeah, this is the color. So the text color should be this. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, so that's how it looks. Similar, very similar. So we're done with that horizontal space. Now the next thing would be the pictures, right? The logo image and then the image of the cart. For that, again, I will create separate divisions. So division um, ID logo, and then within this, I will have image src or source images, the folder name, and then logo.jpg. I'm assuming that that is the correct name, but let's see. If I go to the Green Gardens image logo.jpg, okay, correct. So if I notice this in, okay, it looks very big, and then it's on the right of our search division. We don't want that. Now, when you float something, automatically what is supposed to be on the next line is moved to be next to the floating division. So if this was considered as floating, if I can show it to you, okay, it's not going to work. But if this part was considered, this particular part was considered as, I mean, it is considered as search, and it's only taking up this much space. Whatever was supposed to be below this would automatically move to next to the division. So in order to, move it back to the next line or to the next horizontal space, what we do is whatever is the ID for, or the class for this particular thing or this particular division, you will clear both for it. How to do that? So I named the image logo, right? I would create logo selector here, clear both. Okay. Now save that and notice how it moves to to be on the right. I'll keep this here so it's easier to see. Okay, so now it's to, sorry, it moves to the left and it moves down, right? So let's say I want the height to be 100 pixels and width to be 100 pixels. It's a lot. It's not the same as the screenshot. Oh, just better is to add it in the image because we're trying to manipulate the logo, right? The division. But the actual size of the image is here. So either you can do something like this. So logo space image height should be 75 pixels. Width should be 75 pixels. Close that. Now it's a bit okay. I would make it, let's say 95. Yeah, 95 seems fine. So that's the logo. Okay, and let's notice if it's similar. It is similar. And then the same we'll do for the cart. So again, we'll go back, create a division for the cart, ID cart, and then image source images cart.jpg. Alternate would be cart. Okay, and for the cart, I want it to be on I want it to float to right. Okay, and I want the cart image to be, let's say, the same size. Okay, now let's see what happens. Now the image is showing up below this horizontal space, and we want it in the same horizontal space as this logo, right? So why is it pushing it down? Because this division is taking up the whole space. If we do not want it to take up the whole space, what we can do is float that division to left. Okay, and notice now how they're on the same space. And it is similar to what is shown here. Again, don't worry about the white. It will come back. Again, like I said, when you float something, for some reason, the background goes away. So that is done. Now, the next thing is this table that is here. If I can make it a bit small. This table, the green table, which is vegetables, flowers, all of that. So it's not a list of links, it's just tables. Okay. So it's just a table. So for that, you will add. Now, I'm not going to add another division for this table because I want to set a lot of properties of the table. So I'll create a table here. So when can you choose, when do you choose when to use a division or when to directly add it to the tag? It's when, for example, if I had to change a lot of attributes only for the image here, then I would not create the divisions card or anything. Okay. Um, let's see if I can just add it here and remove it from here. What difference would it make? I'm curious. I'm not sure if it will make any difference. Yeah. Now, the problem with this is it's not picking this thing. Okay. So if I can just remove that, I think it's fine. You can just directly create the division here. Okay. That's also fine. So as long as you, like, for example, if I remove this division, it's also fine. It's not doing anything wrong. Looks similar. So again, but sometimes you need a division because you have multiple things. Here we had only one thing, right? Maybe here, because we need multiple things and they're together and they're floating, we would need a division for that. Again, similar for this one. We would need a division. But if it is a single item, then I wouldn't really consider having a division. I can just put it in the image. That makes a lot more sense. I don't want you to be confused. So I can just write image ID logo, okay, and remove this, remove all of this, okay, and it's the same because it's only one item, right? Again, for the table, because it's only one item, I can then just add an ID here. Let's call it, um, what can we call it? Menu? I don't know, something like that. Now, if we notice the screenshot, it is just one row, okay, and it doesn't have any headers. So for that, you just add within the table, you just add one row, and then how many ever values or cells are required. So in this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cells. So you would have 9 TDs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I pressed Control and D. Control D will just duplicate the lines. So here the first one is vegetables, vegetables, flowers, perennials. That's the new word I learned through this. Perennials, herbs, heirloom, fruit, organics, supplies, advice. Okay, notice how it shows up. If I go back, okay, so it's showing up here, and we have the white background back. That's a good news, but it's not taking the full width. Here, if we look at the picture, it's supposed to take the full width, right, for the page. But here, it's only taking the width of whatever is in the table. So how do we change that? You would write a style for the menu. Okay, menu. What would be? Yeah, width 100%. Save that. Now it's 100%. You're welcome. Okay, so now a couple of things that we need to do. We need to have a background which is green in color, right? And I don't know the color yet, so I'm going to go to this same space, select the color here using the pointer, and copy it from here, and then just use background color. So it will give the table a background color similar to what is required. Perfect. Now we need to change some things about the text that is being displayed. And if you look, I mean the text that is displayed in the table. And if you look at the table, the text is within the TD, right? So again, we have a menu. Within the menu, there's a child item called TR. And then within the TR, there's a child item. There are many child items, which are TD. Okay, so how do we create a style for TD that is within the menu division? So similar to what we did earlier with the login and A, you have to write menu. Within the menu, there is some, within the table, there are TD, right? Those TDs should have, the text for them should be aligned to center. Okay, so if I save that, now notice what happens. They're a bit centered now. Now, there is, if you look closely here, there is a bit of a border for each of them. So each of the data has a border, a white border that it is separated with. So to have that, you can add something called border, or I'm assuming, can we add it here? Border, um, and let's give it 3 pixels. The style of the line should be solid, and then it should be white. Let's see if it shows up. Okay, it shows up, but it doesn't show up in the middle, right? And it shows up surrounding, but there is nothing in the middle that kind of separates it. So what I'm going to do, and if you want a border for each of them, then it should be in the TD, because that's where each of the elements are being displayed. So if I move the border to the TD section, notice how there is a border everywhere. Now, the problem here is these are double borders, and that is the default size, default style of border for any table. So in order to change that, there is a property that you need to add to the table of your HTML. And in this case, the table has an ID menu. So I'll use that. I'll write it as menu, which is already written, border collapse, and then collapse. That means instead of having 2 borders, just collapse it to 1 border. So if I now refresh, now I have just 1 border. But the problem is there is a bit of padding that is required, right? So for each of what it's called, the data, I'll add a padding. Now padding is the spacing between the border and the text. If you notice, this slight white stuff is a border, and then the text is the content, right? If I want spacing between the border and the text, I need to use padding, and for this I'll probably use as 15 pixels, or not 15, 10 pixels. Okay, and if you notice, now it looks similar. Okay. Now because of the text, it's a bit, I'll keep it to this so it looks similar. Okay. This is how it should be. Now, if I, instead of padding, if I had written margin, notice what happens. Margin is the spacing outside the border, not within the border. So for adding a spacing within the border, you will use padding. Okay, now it looks a bit similar, I think. Yeah. The only thing is the text color is not black. It is a different color. I don't know which color it is. I'm going to pick from here. So save that, and color for each of the TD should be this. So if I go back, yeah, now it looks similar. So we're done with the table. Now the next thing is we need to display this list of vegetables. Right now it's a list. It's an unordered list because it has bullet points. Okay, so for that, because now it has, in this case, it has two things: this heading vegetables and then this list. So for this, I will use a division, div vegetables ul. Okay, actually just indented ul, which is the unordered list. And within this, I can just write, give it an ID of, let's say, list. Not list, link. Okay, list is fine. So within the list, you have vegetables, which is this part, and then all of these should be displayed within the UL, LI. Now, if you notice closely, or if you read this text, it says hovering a hyperlink, all the green text underlines it and also changes the text to blue in the vegetables list. So that means that this is a list of hyperlinks. Okay, so if you, again, you don't need to redirect it to somewhere. You can just put the same thing that you added here, href and hash, but it should, when you hover, it should have an effect. Okay, so UL, LI, and then here I would put the A tag for the reference, href hash. This is the basic thing, and within the A tag, I will write the text. But before that, let me just duplicate it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. So I need 12 list items. This is the first one. Press Control, put the cursor at the end, press Control D. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I have 12 list items. Okay, the first thing I would write here is the first list item. The second is asparagus, and then beans. Then there is beets, broccoli, Brussels, Brussels sprouts, cantaloupe, carrots, corn, cucumbers. I'm not sure how many of these would you actually like to have. Eggplants and garlic. Okay, now we have a list. If I quickly check, perfect, I have a list. Is there a spacing above, I mean below the table? Yeah, there is a bit of spacing. We'll fix that. But this is how it should be. Now, again, the links are different. It shouldn't have, so I don't want it to be underlined as how it's displayed here. It's green in color and it's not underlined. So I will go to the list division, um, the UL, or I can just write the A within that division should have text decoration to none. So the underline is gone and the color should be green. Oh, not green. Sorry, I have to go and pick the color 1 second. Okay, so that's the color. Okay, save that. And now it should look similar. Yes, it does. Now, the problem here is that we don't have a spacing at the top. So I'll just add a margin top to be 20 pixels, if that's accurate. Oh, wait, I'm trying to add 20 pixels to A. I don't want that. I wanted to add, I want to add it to just the list, not the A within the list. Okay, so with it for the list, it should be margin top. Perfect. Now, I want it to be a width of, let's say, 25%. Now I'll tell you why I'm doing that. Because I want this to be only 25% so that when I'm trying to code this, it doesn't overlap, or it doesn't, it's not too close to the list. Okay, so now the next thing is this part. Again, there are multiple things within this section. There are two headings, paragraph, and this is considered as a table. It has two rows. The first row has pictures and the second row has text. Okay, so let's try to code that. I will, again, because there are multiple things, I would create a division for that. Division, call it, let's say, content. Okay, and the first thing that I need to display there is, let's say, H1, which is vegetables, seeds, and plants. Let's see how it shows up. Now it's showing up below, right? I want it to be next to this list. So how can I do that? I can float the list to the left. So I can write float left so that it doesn't take up the whole space on the web page. And then content can float to the right. Okay. Yes. It should be like this. Actually, wait. Yes, content can float to the left. Now it's moving, sorry, content floats to the right, but it's moving towards the very right, right? So for that, I can signify that the width should be, because this was 25%, this is taking up 25% of the space. So 100 minus 25 should be 75, 75%. Yeah, so now it's taking 75%, so it knows it's going to take this much space at least. So it's already starting. So now the content will start from that space. Okay, so we have vegetables, seeds, and plants. I think the text is too big, so I'm going to change it to H2. Okay, yeah, this seems a bit similar. So vegetables, seeds, and plants, and then the next one is H2 again. Nothing compares to homegrown. Nothing compares to homegrown. Save that, refresh, similar. I feel that the next text should be smaller. So H3 instead of H2. Save that. Yeah, I feel that's kind of similar. So that's the next thing. And then a paragraph. Okay, Now this is something you can keep in mind. It's fine to have it in uppercase as well. There's nothing wrong with that. HTML is not case sensitive. Shop and grow vegetable seeds. Shop and grow vegetables, vegetable seeds and plants for your home garden. Prize winning tomatoes, peppers, beans, and heirloom, heirloom vegetables from green, my goodness, gardens.com. So that's the paragraph. Okay. Now, after the paragraph, okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, it's fine. I think it looks fine. Yeah, perfect. So why does it keep moving there? Okay, so the next thing is this table, the one that has pictures, and then the one below the pictures there is text. So that's another table. Okay, again, this table has two rows. Okay, so this is the first row that I've created, and then this is the second row. I will give this an ID, vegetable, I don't know, anything, name it anything you want. Vegetables. The first row has four pictures. So we need a TD, okay. Within the TD, we need the image tag, and we need this source, which has the images folder. So I wrote all of that. Now I'm just going to duplicate it. Duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. So I have now four cells, and the first one that I should display is exclusive, exclusive dot jpg, favorite dot jpg, favorite dot jpg, gourmet and new. So gourmet dot jpg and then new dot jpg. Save that. Notice how it looks. Oops, too big. Again, we will style all of that so it becomes smaller. For now, let's leave it like that. The next row has all those text. So TD, okay, and then exclusive vegetables. Oh, the same headings. Okay, so I just duplicated those. Favorite, favorite, gourmet, gourmet, um, new. Okay, save that. Notice how it looks. Okay, we'll fix that. So first of all, let's try to fix the images. Okay, so we have the table which is called vegetables. Veg, oops, hash vegetables. Okay, now here, this is the table itself, right? Anything that we need to add will be within the table. But for now, we don't need anything in the table itself. We need to add something in the image that is within the table, right? So the image, the height of this image should be, let's say, 100 pixels, and the width should be 100 pixels. If I refresh, okay, that's too small. You can try, okay, that's too small. I will try it to be 200. I think that looks good. 200. Oh, it looks stretched. Just keep one so it doesn't stretch. Um, refresh. I like that. Yeah, that's that kind of looks similar to me. Yeah. The next thing is you should have the hyperlinks. Oh, sorry, the next row should be within like the text should be centered for that. So in the vegetables again, you can just copy this. Wherever there is okay, this is supposed to be a link as far as I have read now. So I'm just going to add a hyperlink for each of them. Href, copy that, paste, 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 and then just move all of this within the A tag. Okay, save that. Now I feel that the tag, the A tag, the text there was centered, center align, and the font weight was bold, and the text color was green, same as the one here. So if we try, okay, we need to get rid of the text decoration, which is the underline. Perfect. I feel, okay, let's make the width. I feel like the picture is not big enough for some reason. Okay. Okay. Now the text center will not be affected on A because that's not the actual place for it. Like in the table, the text is basically in the TD, right? So you would write vegetables, TD, paste that, and close it. And now it's centered. Okay. I feel like this is a better match for some reason. Where is it? Okay, and I feel like there's a padding. Oops. I feel like there's a padding in the table here. So I would just add padding 10 pixels if that is enough. No, the padding is not there. Okay, the font size should be 26 pixels. A lot, 20 pixels. Does it look similar? Anyway, I think it's fine as long as um, it looks similar and you're able to, yeah. So whenever you hover on any of the links, it should turn to blue as it was said. I'm not sure if it was supposed to turn to blue for all of them. Hover on the hovering a hyperlink, all green text underlines it, and it also changes the text to blue in the vegetables list. Okay, so in the vegetables list, which was the list that we had, when you hover over it, so if I hover over the A, it should be it should be blue in color. So color would become blue. Um, and let's see if it becomes, yes, it becomes blue. And any other hyperlink, if you hover over it, it should be, so I just write it at the top. A hover should be underlined. So text decoration underline. Save that. Okay, it's getting overridden by all of those. So you would add the text like login a, yeah. So for each of them, wherever you have a, just try to add that. So I have it here, I have it here. For some reason, it shouldn't be like this, but anyway, hover, add that. Yeah, and now it is underlined. So that's perfect. Now the only thing that's remaining is the table at the bottom, the one which is here. Let's quickly make that as well. Again, because it's just a table, I would just add it as a table after the content here. Table ID footer. You can name it anything, and it just has one row. Okay, and it has 5 cells. Copy them. Yeah, 5. The first one is join our communities. The second one is garden time. Third one is request a catalog, buy a gift card, and then finally you have join our email list with the same input thing that we used here, but just the button is called send. Okay, I think it is called send. Yeah, send. So let's see how that looks. Again, we need to do a lot of styling for this. Okay, now again, the table should take up the full space. So footer width should be 100%. Did I write it in the correct place? Yes. Table ID footer. Is it taking the full list? Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, let's see. Let's give it a background color according to this. Copy this. Okay, save it. Refresh. Okay, there is a background color. Now we go back to the footer. Again, I think there was a border for each of them. Yeah. So similar, you would add footer TD, put a border, 3 pixel solid white, and then you will change the default border style, collapse, perfect. And now you will text align, center. Is it center? Yeah, it is centered. And again, you will have that, oops, why do I keep closing this? You will have that spacing, just like the spacing we had for the other table, which was the menu. So padding would be this. And the color is different also, and I think it is this color. So color, okay. Now it looks very much similar. I think there's a spacing between the table or something like that, but I think for the each row in this table, there is some kind of spacing here, because if you notice in the screenshot, this is the text and then there is a spacing around it. So let's try to do that. So if I go back here in the row for the footer table, so tr, I would write, let's say, padding 10 pixels. That's fine. Let's see. Didn't make any difference. It's not making any difference. So maybe for the table itself, let's try with the table. Oh, I'm adding it in the footer, my bad. I was trying to add it in the vegetable. So hash vegetables and then dr, okay, and padding 10 pixels. Okay, still no difference. Margin. Again, I don't feel that there is any difference. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Okay, if I change the image to be 170, I'm just trying to check if it, this is how it should look, I think. But again, it depends on the sizing. It highly depends on the sizing. You can just, I would recommend keep it as 200 and just put a margin for 10 pixels. Refresh. Yeah, I think this looks fine. And with the table, like above the final table, just add a margin. Top, I would say 20 pixels. Okay, and refresh. For some reason, I think there is no margin, but again, try to do that. And yeah, I think this is the final look. I feel like it's very similar to what is in the screenshot. And if you hover over these change the color. The rest of the hyperlinks again should be underlined. You can make these as hyperlinks as well. Just add the A tag, and when you hover over them, just try to change the underline. Just make it underlined. So this is lab 5. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay.